So it has finally happened. Maulana Masood Azhar, the founder of Jaish-e-Mohammed and perhaps one of the most wanted terrorists in India, will be listed as a UN designated terrorist following China's lifting of the hold at the UN Sanction Committee, the 1267 Sanctions Committee, early this morning, New York time. After resisting the listing of Masood Azhar for almost a decade, China has finally succumbed to the combined pressure of international opinion and its own assessment that keeping Azhar protected is giving them diminishing returns. As we break this story, before anybody else just now, the fact is that China came under pressure from the other permanent members of the UN Security Council and of course India's constant interaction with China, giving them more and more information about why Masood Azhar needs to be listed as a UN designated terrorist. This is how it panned out. After the Pulwama attack on 14th February earlier this year, it was clear that Maulana Masood Azhar was behind the attack because Jaish-e-Mohammed claimed the attack. Now, it would have been prudent for China to agree to the demands by other nations led by India to designate Masood Azhar and ban him as UN designated terrorist. But China continued to hold on to its position, which it has been pursuing since 2009. In fact, if you look at the timeline of how China has blocked all international efforts to designate Masood as an international terrorist since 2009, you will realize that it was only trying to help all-weather friend Pakistan. But this time, following consultations, wide consultations between US, UK, France and of course India, talking to all members of the UN Security Council, both permanent as well as non-permanent, China realized that it can no longer hold on to that position. And therefore, as we broke the story on Monday, China has decided now to hold the consultations with everyone and lift the hold on the Sanctions Committee designating Masood Azhar as an international terrorist. Now look at the timeline. 4 times in 10 years, China has blocked the attempts to designate Masood as an international terrorist. In 2009, India pushed for Azhar's listing, but China said we are putting a technical hold, citing insufficient information. In 2016, post the Pathankot airbase attack, India moved a resolution trying to label Azhar as a global terrorist. Did not work. China said it did not meet the UN Security Council requirements. 2017 again, China blocked the tag on Azhar as a terrorist because it said it lacked consensus among members of the UN Sanctions Committee. 2019, post Pulwama, China said it cannot label Azhar as a terrorist because the information that they wanted is not yet read or assessed by China. But this time, India did not have to do much. The permanent members of the UN Security Council, led by France and the US, actually moved a resolution. There was a consensus, and therefore, as I gathered during my visit to China last week, China saw no benefit from holding on to its old position. It took Pakistan on board, especially its deep state, and told them that we are going to now succumb to this pressure. So how should India look at it? India should look at this as a major diplomatic victory. Although one must caution that materially it may not change anything, as we know in the case of Hafiz Saeed, the leader of the Lashkar-e-Toiba, who roams free, acts freely in Pakistan despite the sanction on him. But in election season, this is a major diplomatic victory. Even if there were no elections, India should consider this as an excellent diplomatic maneuver, having got everyone on board and having convinced China. What China will get in return, we will see after the next government comes. But clearly, China has realized that it is in its interest to go with the consensus and not allow its old friendship with Pakistan to come in the way of designating Azhar as an international terrorist. This is Nitin Gokhale for Strategic News International.